And I know for the Bible, as I haven't read the entire Bible, but I've definitely um, understand the meanings of it. That suffering is definitely important, extremely important for your journey and actual development. For you, not only as an individual, but you can actually extrapolate to not only your family, but also for your tribe, your town, your city, and eventually your nation, your people. You can extrapolate that. And there's many stories in the Bible that helps you to understand suffering. And there's different types of suffering as well. There's a lot of stories um, where God puts challenges in front of you to actually do. And there are examples, plenty of examples, where people that are given a task by God and they don't do it, and then they suffer consequences for not doing it. Like the Book of Jonah. That's what I'm referencing, because he was trying to avoid what God want him to do, which is to go and tell these people that they're doing something wrong, and if they don't stop, God was going to destroy them. And he wanted Jonah to, send that message, but he said no and tried to escape on a boat. So God put a storm in front of him, and then he eventually was thrown off the boat because he told he told the fishermen that this is my fault. God is mad at me, and so they threw him overboard, and was eventually taken by the whale, basically swallowed up by the whale, and then was spit out inland. A horrible, horrible place to be in, to be inside of a whale, a mouth of a whale. Like you can breathe, but oh my gosh, that's terrible. But he eventually listened to God and gave him the message, because those people that God wanted to destroy were doing awful things, and so he said the message. The people repented, say, we believe you, God. We'll start changing our ways, and God believed them uh, from their first expulsion, I would say. But John was mad about that. How can you trust these people when they have done such awful things? And from that lesson, you understand that God has specific plans for you, and there are specific challenges for you to do, because they're meant for you to experience and then eventually overcome. Because once you experience them, you understand your purpose in life, and that's something that parents don't teach enough about, especially with challenges being specific to you for you to overcome.
Right. And
And
that's something
they
that
talk, yeah.
we meant to get into, but we didn't get to it in this one. Is helicopter parenting was a massive detriment to this generation.
Mhm.
Just
Yes.
terrible. Preparing the road for the child, or thinking you can, instead of preparing the child for the road. It made that is
Mhm.
much of why we're here, is because so many people aren't they were they weren't properly taught how to make sense of suffering, and so we end up with nihilism. We end up with people saying it's meaningless. Um,
Mhm. Yeah. I
and
absolutely
that's
agree.
tragic, because people don't want to be that way. You can't control how you were raised, and it's tragic for
Mhm.
forces beyond your control to like put such a limit on your capability to endure, to be held back so far, like to be like uh Ku Cullen had having unknowingly eaten the dog. Like, that sucks.
Mhm.
Um,
That does. Yeah. You don't mind if I interject in here?
Go ahead.
Or interject? Sorry. Then that has inordinate effects on not only the people around them, but also for the rest of society because it's a domino effect. Because
Yes.
if more people do it and then more people are affected, and then you can see the avalanche and the snowball effect comes to
Mhm.
the rest of society, and then now we are here where we are because not only for our parents' mistakes, but for our own mistakes to not only to help each other out, but also not try to properly fix ourselves when we there's actual things that are in fault for us.
Right.
And there are ways to do this if you've been affected by this kind of uh, very lax or very I wouldn't even say hands-off parenting, but I would say more neglectful parenting, which is what helicopter parenting I would say
Yeah,
is.
it is.
uh, yeah, neglectful parenting. And the benefit of today is that you have a wealth of information, almost an unlimited amount of
Right.
information if you get the chance.
Mm.
The paradoxical, of course, comes from there's so much information you don't know which to choose, and you don't know which is truth or lies from that. And there are specific pathways that you can go about that isn't religious in particulars, but I would definitely prefer that people would go to church and to the Bible, and then for you it'll be
Right.
what about for you? Yeah.
I would definitely. So I'm a big proponent of helping people find their path. Um,
Hmm.
I, as a pagan, have created more Christians than me leaving it a long time ago. Like my
Hmm.
net, I've been a net good to Christianity despite not being Christian myself, because you know
Hmm.
Odin doesn't require your belief, um,
Hmm.
and that's just the nature of it. Maybe it's a bit Apollonian, but I like to help people find what's going to work for them because ultimately we should consider what our objective is. I would say our objective is finding the greatest system that makes the best out of us. Um,
Hmm.
and I have the way I've done that, and you have the way you've done that, and other people have theirs. I have
Yeah.
I've helped people who are broadly Christian become, say, Orthodox or whatever else because I help
Hmm.
them find what's actually going to drive them forward rather than holding them back.
Hmm. And
Within my
tradition helps that a lot.
right
Yeah.
and tradition with the capital T helps with that a lot,
Hmm.
definitely,
Hmm.
and it contains universally good values. But where where my system is going to get to this, the
Hmm.
Germanic, Norse, Indo-European pagan route, you
Hmm.
know, ultimately centers around the heroic ideal. And
Hmm.
and what is heroism? Heroism is what you do when failure is imminent. When you know there's no hope, what do you do? That's heroism.
Yeah.
You know, is uh, that is that is one man standing on a bridge and killing 40. Uh, that
Hmm.
is uh, that is laying a city under siege for 10 years and thinking of something, anything you can do to finally break through those walls.
Hmm.
Heroism is what you do when it's hopeless. And the example that Odin gives is he knows the end is coming. He knows how he dies. He knows that he rides spear first and then into the jaws of Fenrir and doesn't even get to slay him. He just
Hmm.
simply rides into his jaws and dies. And that's what a hero is what do you do in your final moments when you know defeat is imminent, when you know maybe it's all hopeless, maybe it's all lost. And I think there's
Yeah.
something valuable in that for us today because it can feel like that, and you can almost twist that around. You can almost turn the obstacle into the way. Is you can
Yeah.
say, yeah, it sucks right now. Yeah, it seems hopeless, but this is a
Yeah.
chance to show some courage, um,
Hmm.
and to kind of follow our obligation to our ancestors, to our people, of what we ought to do in this situation, what they would expect us to do, and what I'm sure they would do themselves in this situation.